You need to know what you need to turn off, what you can keep, and when you need to sign off and block completely. There are so many great and amazing things, incredible things happening around the world every single day. Miracles, straight up miracles. Yet what is constantly projected in front of us are all of these tragedies, are all of these awful things, awful people being broadcasted in front of us. And yes, it's real. Okay. Yes, to an extent. And I'll get into that. Yes, these are things that are happening in the world, and it's good to be informed, but it crosses a line when it continues to bring your energy down, when it continues to bring your life force down. And this doesn't mean that you need to ignore what's going on in the world. It doesn't mean that you need to pretend that what is happening is not actually happening, but it's to put your energy first, because fear is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies. Who can you help? Who can you be a support to if you are operating out of fear? Very little amount of people. Yet if you are observing what is going on and you're being mindful and you're viewing things with discretion and blocking out things that you know are BS, and you put your energy first and you stay in your power and you keep your life force up and alive and living and breathing, who are you able to impact? Create a positive impact on so many people, a wide variety, like a vast amount of people. And as a change maker, as someone who is following their passions and following their purpose, you need to keep your energy a priority. You need to keep your state of mind a priority, as in not letting yourself fall into dark holes of fear, of the narrative. It is such a narrative, and it is not the truth that the world is going to shit, that all people are bad, right? These can be common themes and common narratives that we pick up on when we see this negative media, what's being portrayed, the stories that we're being fed to. And it's so interesting. Everything is energy, right? And everything is encoded with different frequencies. What do you think that you are being encoded with when you are watching negative news, negative media that's portrayed in this dun 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 type of like theatrical? And I say theatrical because I don't think it's a secret that often whoever is behind putting the stories together on media, that they often will twist and turn different stories to make the narrative sound more juicy, to sound more crazy, more wild. And with this, I want to quote what I read. Actually, it was from my fourth grade teacher, and I loved my fourth grade teacher. She was actually one of my favorite teachers in all of school, and she had posted something on Facebook recently, and I read it, and I was like, I need to make this YouTube video because it's so important, and it's a topic that we need to be so more mindful in, because it is only going to get worse. And I'm not saying this out of like a fear, like a tactic, because we know we hate that, but the bombarding, the believe the story that I'm telling you, and you need to get fired up about it, and you need to throw your hands up and get angry and fight with the people around you, that is only going to get bigger, especially when you feed into it. We need to have people stop feeding into it. We can observe what's going on, yes, and I understand so fully, so wholeheartedly why these things would upset you. Seeing certain things, I'm not going to name specifics, but seeing certain things that are going on in the world, I so completely understand why it would upset you. But we cannot let these outside things determine your state of being, to completely throw you in a state of whack. And if you're online and if you're angry, posting things online, why don't you believe the same things that I believe? You're being controlled by that. You're being controlled by this negative media. Let me get back to what my fourth grade teacher posted on Facebook, because I was like, when I read this, I was like, I need to make this video. She said, decades ago, my husband was interviewed to be on the local news. I don't even remember the topic because it was so long ago. What I do remember is this. His words were edited before the show to match the theme of the story, and what was aired was the opposite of what he meant. His words edited, not his meaning. I learned a lesson that night, be careful what you believe. There is so much being pitted on different groups of people that is making these different groups of people be shown this is why you should hate the other. This is why you should fight the other, right? This person doesn't give an F about you. This person doesn't give an F about you. This is why you should hate each other. To the extent that I agree, and to the extent that I completely understand why you would feel the way that you do not let these narratives control your state, to raise your anger, to put you in a fear-based state, whatever it is. I myself have been witnessing a lot of what's been on, social media platforms and certain stories that have been, really blown up all over the media. And I caught myself constantly thinking about a couple stories that really just they really affected me. It either really hurt my heart, or it really angered me, or it really made me feel that feeling of WTF, why did this even happen? And then I caught myself, I'm continuing to think about this over and over again. And now I'm bringing it up in conversations with other people, and I'm bringing them to that vibration. What is the vibration that this is carrying? Yes, there are bad people in the world. Yes, there are people who I would say are extremely wounded and very far on the wounded spectrum, that they do all of these things to hurt other people. Yes, those people definitely exist. But also, I really want you to understand that there are so many good people in the world. The good people by far outweigh the bad, the negative, the people with negative intentions. And I also want you to understand people with quote unquote negative intentions, sometimes they believe the things that they do because of their past experiences and because they think that is the best thing for them. They think that is the best way. They're doing what they can with the information and the experiences they have had. And although at times that may not be an excuse for certain behaviors a certain person might portray, and at the same time, I want you, in order for you to step into your power, in order for you to activate your life force and to stay in a place of power and to create what the spiritual community is really calling this new world, to step into this environment, to step into communities that operate out of genuine care, genuine love, genuine affection for others. I need you to be able to hold space for another person to have complete polar opposite beliefs as you do, and for you to be comfortable in that and not point a finger and not blame and not yell and not get angry, but to instead say, okay, I may not understand why you have those beliefs. I may not understand why you think that's okay, but you have your belief systems. I have my belief systems. I'm going to operate out of my belief systems. And me taking my own power back, I'm going to feel really freaking good in my own body. I'm going to feel confident and go skip along the beach and to sing my favorite songs in the car and live my life. Because what are you doing? Getting so angry at these other people for having different belief systems. And I say this with so much love because I understand that many of these belief systems may also, they really might hit home for you. It may feel like you have to defend yourself, but this is where that lower frequency jumps in. When you get into that defensive state, what are you operating out of? Fear. We need to stop doing that. And the more that you can operate out of this place of stability, those people won't have anything to fight against. So I want you to notice when you're watching something, or when you're hearing someone say something, or when something comes up on the media, how these things make you feel. Because these are all activating different things, different codes, different traits within you. And I want you to ask yourself, is this serving me or not? Is it serving me or not? You cannot fight fire with fire. What are you doing standing up, thinking that you're taking a stand for something when you're really just activating out of so much anger and fear, when you could be taking your own power, fueling yourself, and going and making a positive impact? They're two completely energies to operate out of. And the things that you're watching on media as well, I just want to end that part with ask yourself, what would be out of love? That's the easiest way to make that shift. What action, what statement, if you feel so fired up about something and you're like, but I feel like I need to do something. Okay, what can you do that would be out of love? That would be productive, that would make a positive change for what you are looking for. And when it comes to the negative media itself, watch from a distance. You are not a bad person if you choose to not tune into certain media. If it's bringing you down, I heard from people a while ago that they were getting into literal depressive states because they were listening and consuming so much media. You are what you consume. You are what you consume. It's not just food. It's the codes that you're receiving by the things that you're listening to, by the things that you're scrolling on social media. You're watching these things on TikTok back to back to back. You're feeling all of these. What is that encoding you with? Start to really separate yourself. Watch from a distance. Observe, but don't absorb. Once you notice that it's starting to shift your energy in a way that is not benefiting you, it's not serving you, ask yourself, is this something that I really want to do? Do I really want to sacrifice my entire energy field of which I'm operating out of, my entire state of mind of which I'm making all of my decisions out of a place of fear because I feel like I'm not a good person if I don't consume all of the bad things that are happening in the world? Like I said, there's so many amazing things going on. But what's being portrayed? It is all about your perspective as well. I always say, there was a time where I used to be so afraid of, I'm gonna knock on wood before I say this, but I used to be so afraid of getting into a car accident. And every time I noticed the fear come in of me getting in the car, or let's say I saw somebody on the road, driving crazy, they look drunk, they look like they're falling asleep at the wheel, and I would start to get fearful that I would get in a car accident. And when I would notice the fear come in, I would trigger this bubble of protection around me and the car that I'm driving. So I'd feel the fear and I'd go, I'm protected. I'm going to step into this energy of protection, of safety. And I do this probably almost every single time I drive. It's like a habit that I feel that I just wrap me and the vehicle that I'm driving in this protective energy. I do the same thing when I'm flying now as well. And when you see something on media, when you see negative things or groups of people being harmed or someone that was individually harmed in a horrible way, as we've been seeing quite a lot of lately, instead of feeling the fear and having that natural, very human reaction of, oh no, I have to, protect myself, that shrinking feeling, that's so awful, that person is so bad, why weren't they in prison already? And you feel that contraction. I want you to switch that bubble effect of either protecting yourself protecting yourself of not feeling that fear of going, I'm protected, I'm safe, I'm good. But if it's other people involved too, send them that bubble of protection. Don't underestimate your ability to send positive energy to people across the entire world. The more that you fear for them, this is something that really hit home for me a while ago, is somebody had mentioned, I had a lot of concerns around a family member of mine who was going through quite a lot of health concerns, health problems. And I was listening to a podcast actually, and it said, when you worry about someone, you are sending negative prayers their way. And I was like, that's so right, because I'm worrying about someone. What energy am I connecting with them? We're all a collective consciousness. We can affect others' energy, good and bad. And when I actually decided to stop my pursuit of nursing school and to go all into starting this online business, is when I was reading this book called Mind Over Matter, and it was showing the research, the actual scientific research that doctors did, proving the effect of distant healing, bringing healing energy and healing someone with energy coming from their heart, like someone who is kilometers away on the other side of the world. Research, science-backed studies. Don't think that you praying for other groups of people isn't going to be as effective. That's one of the most effective things that you can do. So instead of being fearful and thinking, oh, this is so bad, this is so terrible, flip the switch, turn that protective bubble on, put protective energy around them, pray for them. I do this all the time when I'm like driving and I pass like a deer on the side of the road, or I did this so many times driving today because I've been passing so much roadkill and it just makes my heart so sad. But I saw 2 turtles, a bunch of turkey, and some deer just as I was driving today. I literally live like in the woods right now. And as I passed them, I sent little protective bubbles of energy around them. I'm like, be protected, stay safe, stay happy with your little turkey family. And so do that. If you feel like you can't do anything, at least do that. Stay in your empowered state and know that you are at least sending that positive energy to them, because it does affect them. And when you are putting more fear-based narrative, more, oh no, that's so awful, why are these awful things happening to these people? In the collective consciousness, you are also creating more of that. You are putting more awareness on negativity. You may very well be manifesting more negativity for that group of people if you're continuously being in that state of, oh no, this is so awful, why is this happening to them? So pray for them. Pray for their upliftment. Pray for their healing. Send them love and know when to sign off. You can know that something is happening and say, okay, I see this is happening. What can I physically do to help this? If I physically cannot do anything right now, okay, I'm going to send my prayers and I'm going to log off, because what good is it going to do if you continue to watch and watch and watch and watch and consume as your energy field, your state of mind is going like this, down and down and down and down and down. And then what state are you going to operate out of the next few days? I've heard from so many people, I don't have any energy to do anything at all. I don't want to leave the house. I'm so depressed because of what I've been watching online. What is that? You are what you consume. Watch what you're consuming and tune into empowering narratives. I truly believe that when we see like negative things happening in the world, darkness is being brought to light. Darkness is being brought to light. These things are coming up to be healed, and they are healing as they're coming up. And so as they're healing, things might look messy before they clean up. But have that, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. Have that perspective that it's coming up to be clear to move forward. Send them that love and energy and positive energy instead of the narrative of the world is going to shit, the world is going to end. How many years have people been saying that? How many years have people been saying the world is a dangerous place and it's going to end? You get to choose what narrative lives in your mind, what story lives in your mind, what energy you get to come from. And you don't need to explain yourself. If you are someone who you don't feel called to speak up on social media about certain topics because you know it creates a whirlwind of fire, and you need to keep your priority on your own calling so you can bring your greatest benefit to the world, not everyone needs to be focused on the same problems, right? This comes back to holding space, right, for another person having different belief systems and for operating in different ways. I've seen so many times people accusing, why aren't you using your platforms to speak about X, Y, and Z? Well, maybe they don't feel called to. Like, is that okay? Can that be okay for a person to focus on their own callings? If you feel called to speak about it, speak about it. Speak about it as loud as you want. Do all of the things, again, out of love. Do all of the things. But don't be pointing a finger to someone because they're not doing something in the way that you would be doing it. That would be like you wanting to go to law school and you think law school is the best. And then you get pissed off and angry. Why aren't you going to law school? Because they don't feel called to go to law school. They don't want to go to law school. That's not in them. And before I go and close out this video, for all of my professional creatives, my entrepreneurs, I do have a free 8-minute brain training activation to help clear out past obstacles, step into empowerment, and get clarity on your next steps moving forward. It's a true activation. You can sign up. I'll drop a link below for you to grab it. I love you so much and have a great night.